Clara, I can hardly hear you. Are you on
Clara,
on mic?
can speak.
All right. I think Ayo won himself the opportunity. Clara, do this. I'll drop you and add you back. Maybe we can be able to hear you. Ayo, you are protesting. Come back.
Anyway, uja refresh space kwanza. Mi sitaki kuongea alafu usikie the space ended.
All right, let me do that. In the meantime, kindly proceed. I will drop all the co-hosts and then you proceed with the submission, Ayo. Kindly.
Very nice. Ladies and gentlemen, I love this discussion so much. Nimekuwa nikiwashwa. And for those who are saying that they did not watch the whole speech thingy, I directed that speech. I watched every beat, every full stop and every comma from the beginning to the end. And what I can say is that our deputy president is under siege. And he has declared he's not going anywhere. He's resigning. And right now, as we know, this impeachment is just a political event. And to be honest, what I can say is that Rigiji is doing this for the purpose of his exit strategy. He's burning the whole house down. Do you guys know the theory of red ocean strategy? I want to educate you for a moment. While I was watching Rigiji speak today, I saw all the ideas gotten from Ruto. Go there. Show them that you want to cry, show them that you're very vulnerable, show them that show them the huruma face, even try and cry for the first time. The most arrogant human being that I know of was almost crying. As I go back, there's a theory called the red ocean strategy that is a prominent business approach that emphasizes competition within established markets. And in this context, companies strive to outperform their rivals to capture a larger share of existing demand. And that term red ocean, it actually symbolizes the intense and often fierce competition that characterizes these markets, where companies are engaged in a struggle for survival, leading to a metaphorical kind of bloody environment. And that is what right now is happening to Rigiji. Rigiji is fight your life yake. So if I'm going to fight for my life, I'm going to burn the whole house down. If I'm going down with the whole house. And if you could have heard that speech word by word, word for word, that guy was saying nothing. He was just trying to create stories. For almost 3 hours, media wameka hapo wanamsikiza. Hizi ni stories za jaba. Kutu divert attention, ndio to feel enyewe by the way, mbona Ruto anafanya hivi Rigiji? By the way, mbona Wasa anafanya hivi Rigiji? Those are survival tactics he's employing to ensure that he stays on board. To hadi mwisho. Hizo ni distractions zenye tulikuwa tunaongelelea hapa. What I'm going to say is, if and only if, by the way, Rigiji ameiba, it was a race na ameiba hiyo race. Ilikuwa steeplechase na ameiba hiyo race. Because alikuwa anajua hiki kitu inafanyika kesho, wacha niongelesha wa Kenya leo, so that kesho watu wanaweza nionea huruma, or the MP is watching me, or whoever. But I don't know what's happening tomorrow. But tomorrow is the D-Day. Whether he's going home or not, I want you guys to know that his life is now hanging on a slimy thread. And that's why he's pulling all these acts today on local media in broad daylight. I think that's what I wanted to say. But really, kusema kweli, if you heard him, even all those mali anatuambia and all that. See, there was a time that they were being interviewed about the deputy presidents, and they were trying to declare their wealth. Why declare them now? Who asked him of that wealth that he's declaring? Nana limuliza about G, who's supporting their wives, whatever. No, nobody gives a damn about that. But all that were distractions plea for sympathy, so that wasewa muone huruma. And for me, this whole sarcasm is not making sense. In attention seeking, he's trying to pull how do we call it? He's trying to pull a Ruto on us, whereby he cried mbele ya church and all that kind of stuff. I know you're raising up your hand because my time is up. I'm done speaking.
No, I wanted to ask you a question. The host nipatie ruhusa.
Go ahead, Redemptor. That was for you.
Sorry, I was itching because I know director, producer, script writer, or Ayo, you've come to this episode of today, but I wanted you to tell me, there's a lady who made a very great submission because she was speaking from a constituent point of view. So you as a script writer and you directing the speech that was read today, I want you maybe to tell me what was the target audience, because the other lady said the target audience were his enemies, the people who were about to bring him down. And then my second question is, is there continuity or is there a disconnect from yesterday's conversation and today?
Okay, to be honest, that speech of today wanted to the people because anajua watu wame lose faith in them. They're just actually trying to fight for their lives. That's number one. The second target audience, ni wase wanaenda kuvote kesho au ma MPs, they are not sure, and the other 25% were ndio tutajua huu mtu ni nani na akienda. I don't know what's gonna happen next according to the Kenyan constitution. I cannot tell what will happen next after that, but what I know, that whole speech, the target audience were number one for his enemies, wenye wanataka fall kusik sympathy ndio waseme nyewe umse amejililia sana. Number two were for those people, those MPs in parliament who are gonna vote aende. And
Yes, asante sana. I feel like there are two different scripts.
There are two different scripts altogether. That one I agree with you. Two different scripts.
Najua inakuuma sana lakini hapa you just sit and enjoy the ride. Obeds ni makanga wa ndege, so he can't comprehend what we are speaking about. Send your script writers. Let's find out if Clara thinks the same. Clara, good evening. Welcome to the space. Clara, the mic is going to you. Kindly proceed. Okay, Clara ni watu wa iPhone. Umeingia kwa app, uja authorize app ichukue audio, so it will not accept to transmit the audio to us. So go on the settings and activate option for the app to access the mic, okay? And that should be able to solve your problem. We will give you priority, Clara, don't worry. Let's see, who was on the queue? Obeds, now this, you unajua kupanga. Nani alikuwa on the queue next? Obeds, don't take it personal. Who was next? Usinimute.
Nioni vile nimetoka, so just hold on. Hata niko nje, ziko kwa nyumba.
All right, let's see.
Gravity muziki.
All right, Gravity, go ahead. The mic is yours.
Asante sana. Thank you for the opportunity. I think this whole impeachment thing is just to add on what I think I found Redemptor speaking. I think this impeachment story is a sham for the movement to die, because you see, when they brought from when we started Maandamano, it was killed. It was killed by Ruto wants a conversation. Then again, they came about. They brought something else. Now they brought the impeachment. I think this whole tomorrow that guy want to be impeached from my view. This is a game that they're playing in house. It will for me, I think it was just to kill the vibe of the whole movement that we were doing. That's my take.
Thank you very much for that take. Short and precise, to the point. Let's see, Declan, you've been waiting. Go ahead.
Thanks so much. Also, thank you to the previous speakers who always speak very well. Can I be heard?
Sure, you can. Proceed.
Oh, great. That's fantastic. So it's very interesting. The question I'm asking, there's a lot of questions to ask out of what's going on. One of them saying, what did he say? It's actually that's what I've been thinking the whole evening. What has this guy said? It's great that guys like Ayo have watched this thing in totality so that siezi fungua tu mdomo hohehahe, because I started watching and ilikuwa tu jaba. I went and continued with my day. And then as I'm scrolling there on Twitter, I go back into Pipita's space and he's still streaming the speech. And it's how many hours later. And we are still hearing that same tone that he's had the whole speech. He's just going around in circles, things that I don't care about, things that the common mwananchi doesn't care about. So I'm trying to understand, one, I think the biggest question we need to ask is, what does this mean for us as a movement? So, guys like Farah and I think Redemptor and a few other people have mentioned the issue of tribalism and how that's going to be affected. The unity of tribalism will be affected within this movement. I think that's one take. But I feel like there's more. I don't think anybody has found the reason why Ruto has decided to make this move. If you ask me, I might be naive, but I feel like this has nothing to do with us and the movement. And I say that might be a naive statement because I really don't know. But I can't, the math isn't mathing. I don't understand. What does this do for Ruto? Well, what does Rigathi have against him? I don't understand what the issue is. So I think I'll continue looking for the answer to see what does this mean for us as a movement. The reason why I was supportive of getting rid of both, and not just Gachagua, but obviously it's going to be Gachagua first, is because in my head I was thinking, okay, if a deputy can be impeached and the people of Kenya see it's possible for a deputy to go, those who don't understand that Ruto can go might start seeing that picture. Again, that might be a naive statement, but it's just where it's my initial thoughts, backed up by no kind of data. But that's what I'm thinking. I'll continue listening as we come up with what this really means. But I really think we need to try and answer the question. One, why is Ruto trying to do this, which isn't really too important, but what does it mean for us as a movement, and how can we maximize on this? Is Rigathi going to come out and start spilling secrets about Ruto that we can use against him? Maybe not. In an ideal situation, yes, but we don't know. We'll see what will happen. But yeah, those are my initial thoughts, and that's my reaction kind of to what's happened today.
All right, that is Declan there. Wondering what is happening, tunaenda wapi. The real Joe, do you have any answers for this gentleman? Because he seemed confused on what is happening. Amesikiza jaba ya DP, akarudi, akafanya revision. Nothing is adding up. Anything from your end, real Joe?
Actually, what I just wanted to tell him is, if he is aware that the DP has always been associated with the past demonstrations that we had as a movement, and it has been coined as a narrative that those demonstrations were never organic. So, as someone once said, that when hyena wants to eat its children, it accuses them of smelling like goat or like sheep or something like that. So Rigathi was already associated with the demonstrations that happened, and that is how he has been tagged into the movement. So that is just to answer Declan. So he's somehow being pushed into the movement. And that is why some people are saying, even Redemptor had mentioned this, these are just supposed to cause confusion among us. That is the belief that I think I'm also borrowing. So to Declan, I think that this is a sacrificial move to the DP, but it also supposed to quell the movement. You know, politicians know that dealing with politicians to politicians is easy, but dealing with an organic movement that the Kenyan youth started is very difficult. Them, they know each other, and they will talk about deals, they will talk about other shares and things like that. They will always come to the table, but an organic movement for the young people, they don't know how to deal with that. Let me leave it at that.
All right, that's fair enough. And to what you've just said, Real Joe, before I bring in Obed, there was the argument that the movement died and had its funeral on the 5th of July, 2024, when President Ruto did what he does best. But then again, the arguments in the political corridors trying to put this man on the spot is he actually knows what transpired on the 25th of June. To some extent, accusations and political players were actually pointing a finger at the DP, saying it was not just a mere coincidence. This gentleman was in Mombasa and issued a presser right after the president issued his presser in Nairobi, Kenya. So looking at those issues and the most hated phrase right now in the country, which is "Viva comrades, viva!" I think one will be questioning, did we ever have a movement in the first place? Best before we can proceed to the next speaker.
Well, so many things. But my take is Ruto learned from Uhuru Kenyatta. Uhuru was patient with him. But for him to succeed, because this is about 2027, he has to cut this guy off as soon as possible. He doesn't have the patience and tolerance that Uhuru had. And so he's willing to test the waters. He's not a patient man. And for what it's worth, they say sometimes as a leader, you have to make a decision. It doesn't have to be right, but you just improve it as you go on. So I guess he's testing the waters. There's so many other things coming up. There's the term extension, which is something he's trying, and I think he's also trying to test the people and see the people in the house, how loyal they are, and if they'll be able to do what he wants. So these are tests. But also, I feel this is the best time to test the constitution, because I'm sure Rigathi believes that he'll go to court and he'll take it to the highest point that he can to ensure that we test the ability and capacity and what the judiciary would do with this if Parliament decides to side with the president. The truth is, as he even confirmed, the president has given approval of this. As much as he's silent, he knows what he's up to. What I hope for, and that's why you say, when your enemies are fighting, allow them to do it. It will give you, there's a lot for you to learn. So this for me is interesting days, and I'll be looking forward to whatever turns out. And it's interesting days ahead, but there's going to be a bad egg on the face of the president, I feel.
Awesome. Interesting days ahead. You haven't, though, answered to my question of, did we have a movement in the first place? Everyone is stating. Was it?
There was. The only
Braver, kindly keep your mic off until it's your chance. We see your hand.
There was, and the only problem is, and I think which has been for a long time, is Kenyans want a hero. And every time you front yourself as a hero, then they realize you're human, you have your foibles, they throw stones at you, and they say things about you. They start to say you're being paid by NIS and stuff like that. So collectively, we haven't really decided on what is the end. I've always said, if we sat and saw the end from the beginning, we would have finished this thing a long time ago. But again, at the same time, it's not straightforward, because it's a long journey. It's going to take a while, and there'll be victims on the way. And even those who start the revolution probably will not finish it. But if people believe that this is a sacrifice for the long-term good, it will work. But if people are here to be heroes, others to join politics, then it's about selfish interest. It's the same thing we are fighting, about politicians. And then it's not about people, but self-interest. So we are not clear. Much as we speak as we've spoken, the reality is the influencers who want, and they host spaces very many people, and they lecture people, others insult others believe they're the smartest people in the room. But the day we start to be honest with ourselves and say, we want to work within the confines of the Constitution and respect that which is right, then guarantee ourselves that in the next 2-3, have a proper strategy, have people in charge of ABCD, not about self-interest, but for the posterity of this country, it would work. Until then, we'll be fighting, and we wouldn't get much, we wouldn't achieve a lot.
Thank you very much for that, Obeds. We had a movement in the first place, but it's all about outshining and trying to get an influencer kind of conversation happening. I would love to have, I know Declan, your hand is up, kindly be patient. I will want to invite Breva to the talk, and then we'll have GHM, my good friend. Thank you for joining the talk. Breva, the mic is yours.
Okay, thank you. I hope you are getting me. Hope you are listening.
We are. Kindly proceed.
All right, thank you. So, first of all, I want to say thank you for Mizani to give us this opportunity to air our views. Secondly, I wish to say that I think as Kenyans here, most of us are having it wrong because this war is between But going back to what is happening, this Mzee Gachagua today, what he has done, he was just trying to build up his case. Like, for instance, somebody was saying that he's Sajaba, but to be sincere, already we have accusations. They have listed 13 of them. And tomorrow it will be presented in the parliament. Now my question is, do you want Gachagua just to be there, or he has to vindicate himself? So what Gachagua has done, he has come out answering each and every allegation against him. And like he was saying that on each and every allegation, he has evidence. So we cannot say that Mr. Sajaba, let's wait until tomorrow and see, as they will be tabling it in the parliament, and as he will be presenting, he will be vindicating himself. So we will want to know who is right, because he has his legal counsel or those people who will be defending him. We will be looking at the evidences of Gachagua and the parliament against Gachagua. So let's wait until tomorrow. That is when it answer kusema Mr. Sajaba, because he was giving evidence of each and every allegation, and that's what he has done today. He did it well, and I was happy for him, not as a Kenyan, but for himself, that he did.
Man, and the truthful man has nothing to hide. Let's find out what you think. Frederick, the mic is yours.
Sorry, come up again. Sorry.
The mic is yours. Give us your opinion of what did the DP say.
Oh, well, I'll say that it was just a personal defense against what was accused of him. But do I care about his impeachment or not? No, I don't. Because even ni vita vya kunguru. So, kwa panzi inakuwa ni njia ya kuhepa. Kwa hivyo ni kunguru wanapigana, kusema kweli. So, hakuna vile Gachagua atasema ati, are those allegations true about his conduct? I'll say to some extent, yes. If there is exaggeration, I don't know, maybe it will be put clear there. But has he amassed wealth in a short period of time? Yes. Because I have not seen anywhere where he has made an accountability that whatever he's being accused of acquiring is not his, because sometimes he alludes his children, everything. So we know the business of politicians whereby they use proxies to acquire wealth. So my point is this: if he has used, if he has amassed wealth, it's true, yes. But is he the only one who is so corrupt in Kenya? No. I mean, he's not even. I mean, if you hold everyone in this country just, like we are holding him to the detail, then probably he's just among many sinners in this government. So my point is this: let the cookie crumble, okay? Let the axe cut and the chips fall where they may. So our point is this: as you have something to do with the movement. We may not be a movement, but we are collective people. Yes, the movement shows the direction, but we are collective people. So we should take this advantage to sneak in, to actually see where we can create a loophole into all these things, so that we look for someone who can really deliver us. I'll say this, and this I know it's totally unrelated to today's events, but I'll say this. As a people, we should know this. Yes, we have got the people who have emerged in our movement, for example, like Morar and the rest, who have emerged as leaders. Yes, do we need to give them space? Yes. But for the top leadership position, we really need the lesser evil. Let's not say, the rest of the leaders who are there before are not fit to hold these offices. So let's use some of those leaders who are there before. Let's not assume that, for example, like I'll say, give an example of Kibaki. Kibaki was Moi's vice president, but he did exemplary well. So you can look even among them. Even if this guy, even if you bank on this Gachagua, you see, no one say in a war, the enemy of your enemy is your what? Is your friend. You can use even all this movement to our advantage to get right in people in there. So that's what I say. Let us look at it that way. But I don't care whether Gachagua gets impeached or not. I don't care. He's a kleptomaniac, just like his bosses or people who are vilifying him. So I'll say this: whatever happens tomorrow, let it happen. But us as people, we should look at more. Just pick it. Let's speak about it today. But tomorrow, let's go back to Adani. Let's go back to Chief. Let's go back to Shah. Let's go back to the more important issues. Let's go back to the education funding model. I heard it was I don't know whether there are people who know that court order that this model should be stopped. So after this, let's go back to our pressing issues. And I like what he said. And also I'm saying that we use whatever he says to our advantage. He said that Parliament should be more concerned about Adani and the Shah and all other things. Yes, that's true. So even if he says anything which is to our benefit, we pick it. Whatever it is up to his detrimental, let him keep his fall there. And the people who are defending him are people who eat close to him, and they are very few. These are people who just go around him. So that's my point for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That is Frederick. I will now want to invite GHM. Gilbert, good evening to you. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to the space.
Good evening, Eli. How are you doing?
It's been a while, my brother. Looks like life is treating you fairer in the land of the living.
Life is treating us fairer with everything that's happening in our country. Oh man, you can't say it's fair, but we thank God for everything. For what's happened today, what I'll say, we just put everything before the cat. Because when they were doing public participation, for sure that public participation ilikuwa sham, ilikuwa mchezo. Few people to be selected, come make noise, invite media, capture them, say this is what people want. But you know what he did today? At the time when everyone is home, and invited everyone, all the media station, kujeni. Hata ule mwenye ako mashinani kule kabisa, kuja. Sasa sikizeni. Hii ndio mashtaka nimeletewa. Na hii ndio majibu yangu. Kesho naenda parliament. Parliament amesha-accuse. Mkitaka mnitupe nyumbani, niende Senate, ningangane nao. Tukimaliza Senate tuende kotini. What he's telling his boss, I'm going nowhere. And if I'm going anywhere, I'm burning the whole house. And you don't have an option. So decide now. Leo amesomea bosi wake Riot Act. Because from everything you're saying, look at yesterday's script, combine it with today's script. The same thing the DP did, the president did when he was the DP. He apologized. he stated the reasons zenye zinafanya people are fighting. I'm a farmer, watu wananisikizia vibaya mimi niko na kuku 10,000, natoa 10 million every month from it. So you think 10 million after 1 year, kwani hiyo ni pesa mbili? The same thing. The DP just borrowed a narrative from the boss and he repeated, I'm doing what my boss taught me. And he asked the boss, if you want to follow me, let's go. Tuone penye tutafikishana. So it's and kitu amekumbusha ni MP. I remember telling Ayo sijui kama ako hapa, and Ayo told me, nyinyi watu wa diaspora, I don't understand what's happening. Mko huko mnaongelea tu kwa Twitter. Eli, let me tell you, the movement died. I'm not lying to you, the movement died. Hiyo iliisha. Gachagua alikumbusha NSIS, hakuna kazi mnafanya, na wakaamuka. Wako wapi? Tell me Eli, watu wako wapi? Tutaendelea kuongelea kwa Twitter. I told Ayo, solution ni moja. Send our MPs home. Be very hostile to them. Waingize nyasi. They will do their work. Lakini Sonoma regroup. Look at the way the tone is back. See how they are talking. Look at the arrogance the MPs have. And the president knows very well. Mkono yangu haitapatikana na uchafu. Anaisukuma to the MPs. The MPs do everything. The senators do everything. To him he'll say, mimi nililetewa ni sign. MPs ndio voices ya wananchi. Mimi ningekataa aje. So shida yetu as a country inakuja kwa legislation. Nothing else, legislation. Hii kama ni drama ama ni nini, aende asiende, haitusaidii in any way. Kesho Gachagua asipokuwa deputy president mwingine atakuwa. Itasaidia aje story ya SHA na NHIF kukua better? Itasaidia aje story ya Dani? Itasaidia aje corruption cases zenye zina happen? Nothing. But you see, tumepoteza direction. Tuko hapa sasa sahi tumekalia, tuna discuss Gachagua, my friend. Hakuna kitu hivi vitu inaenda kusaidia. Yeah, that's my submission. Thank you.
All right. So according to GHM here, we are busy chasing hot air, and I would love to hear from. Okay, Declan, you seem to be having an issue. Let's sort out your issue. Take the mic.
Thank you so much. It's actually so great that you picked it up before the conversation ran too far. Thank you to the previous speaker. You've spoken to a lot of things that I was thinking as well. Cinema personally me in an bowl. I feel like I'm watching a very unentertaining TV series or like really bad reality TV television. You know, like I feel like when I look at all this thing that's going on, like somebody said, oh, the DP has to come and speak against the charges that he's been given. But why is he telling us? You know, we're not the ones who are going to give the judgment. The speech that he gave today to come and tell us, oh, I'm innocent, or I'm what? Whether we think he's innocent or not, whatever is going to happen is going to be decided tomorrow. So why did he waste 3 hours of our time? You know, of all the things a high state officer could talk about right now with what's going on in the country, he decided to talk about charges against him that will make no difference to us whether he is charged or not. Because I feel like stay or go, it won't really make a big difference. The only thing I thought about is my previous point, which was obviously it might make some people think that it's actually possible to get rid of Ruto, which would be great. But what I wanted to speak on basically is somebody mentioned the point of heroes. And the fact that Kenya wants a hero. I really wanted to speak to the point that we don't need a hero. We just need people to serve the movement and to serve what we're trying to achieve, which is to fix the nation. Because basically the movement is fixing the nation. So we need people to serve the fixing of the nation. And as people go, I suggested to the Sauti Mwananchi team, and I also suggest to you, Mizani, and Riljo, and all these other guys who are hosting spaces, it's really important that there's a conversation that is had about the leaders that we want. Those conversations might have been had already, but they've not been had enough. And the reason why we're not able to see the destination of where we're trying to get to is because we've not even talked about that destination. We're just on the move, which is well and good actually, because, you know, even being an adult is staying in continuous motion. But it is very important that we understand the destination, the leaders that we want, the country that we want. We need to have that conversation and make it clear to people that it is possible. It is possible for you. You know, I was trying to, in the beginning of the movement, I really couldn't understand why people couldn't get it. When you're trying to explain to somebody at mandamano, let us contribute to this or let us do that towards the movement, somebody is not jumping on board with the urgency that I have. And then I quickly realized, if somebody has been in Kenya and has never entered a hospital, received treatment efficiently and left, and that person is now sick, and then you want to come and tell them that, oh, let us fight for a hospital where you can come get treatment and go build a drama without bribing anybody. This person will tell you, Bwana, you're crazy. That will never happen. So you need to look at we need to understand the leaders that we want. And once we understand the values of the leaders that we want, we'll then be able to quickly separate the chaff from the maize in the leaders that are coming up inside the movement that allegedly now want to lead us to victory. Because there's too much talk about, oh, Nani has done this, Nani has done that. Sometimes some people are receiving fire for things that they shouldn't even be receiving fire for. And then this other side, people are following Judas and they don't understand that this guy is a Judas. Because we haven't made it clear what these leaders should look like. So I feel like that people need to understand one, Kenya does not need a hero. Kenya just needs somebody to serve the fixing the nation movement. That is the only thing. And anybody you decide to follow in terms of leadership, just look at their actions. You know, people when they speak all the time, I'm finishing by the way, because I know I've been speaking for a long time. People when they're always in the limelight and they have to talk every day, because as somebody who is a leader or an influencer, people expect you to talk every day. Hakuna mtu ni malaika. That person will not always say the right thing.
Mizani space inaanguka, mizani space inaanguka.
Mizani space inaanguka. Ufanya hapo revision. Unajua refresh. Thank you, Kowino. But you know, you can't, that person won't always say the right thing. But look at what this person is doing and look at their continuity, for lack of a better word. I know there's a better word, but look at their continuity. Look at their consistency. Sorry, that's what I was looking for. Are they consistently serving the movement? Even if they said something, are they consistently serving the movement and serving the movement in totality? Not serving the movement in their interest. There's a difference. You can tell somebody who is serving this movement for their own interest, and you can tell somebody who is serving this movement for the movement alone and selflessly. And those are the people that people should be looking for. I want to leave it at that. Kuna watu wengi wanaweza ongea hapa sana. But I just wanted to touch on that point of heroes. Thank you so much, Mizani and the team.
Thank you very much, Declan. And I hope hatuanguki tena. Kama tunaanguka nayo. We had promised to do an hour and then we did a vote here. We saw people approved 2 hours. I think we still have 15 minutes to call it a night. But with the speakers that are already there, we'll give you an opportunity to execute your issues. Declan here is asking a very fundamental question and also trying to tell us, let us not try to find heroes in the name of people who will save us from our problem. We need visionary leaders, and what we need is destination. Where are we headed? But then again, I'm reminded a few months back, anytime you questioned about where we are headed, you were melted with a lot of, we will know when we get there. Let's listen to this gentleman today. He was quite wordy. 2 hours of nothing but pleasure when it comes to delivering what he delivers as a deputy president. Listen in.
I think tomorrow will be the greatest circus. Or do I call it the theater of the absurd? That Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, undertaking duties assigned to him by the president to fight illicit brews and drugs across the country, should be impeached because by doing so, he is interfering with the devolution. I held meetings in Nyeri, attended by Governor Kahiga, Governor Waiguru, Governor Irogo Kangata, Governor Wamatangi, Governor Kiari Badilisha. I held a meeting in Chuka, attended by governors of Embu, of Tharaka-Nithi, of Meru. I attended a meeting in Mombasa, attended by governors of Kwale, a representative of the governor of Mombasa, the governor of Taita Taveta, a representative of the governor of Lamu, to discuss. I held a meeting in Nakuru, nearly with all governors present, and all of us jointly, under my chairmanship, the Ministry of Interior and Governors, we agreed on how to tackle the menace of illicit brews.
You know, if you don't drink and people are busy talking about alcohol, you might not understand just how bad it is. But this gentleman here has done the most. And according to the last part of that statement, he said that people in Nyeri, wamama wa Central, can now attest that wazee walirudi nyumbani. And there are a lot of people being named after him, actually. So it looks like his work is working, but that does not reduce the impeachment motion from his nose. Ambassador Gordon, good evening to you. What do you make of this gentleman's very serious speech about fighting illicit brew and his fight against the impeachment? The mic is yours.
Good evening, Eli. It's interesting.
Can you just get me your audio 1 decibel a bit higher? You're too low.
Okay, thank you.
Great, there.
It's interesting. One, you did mention just a while ago that at some point, when anyone dared ask, where are we heading? You are almost skinned alive. We were told we will know when we get there. So this is where we were heading anyway. And here we are. If you ask where we are heading now nowhere. We are at the cliff and we are falling over. Impeachment has nothing to do with the law. It has everything to do with politics. So MPs can even impeach you because they don't like the shape of your nose and you will do nothing about it. They can impeach you because they don't like the way you talk, they don't like the way you dress, and you can do nothing about it. Forget about what the law says, because show me one particular day when we followed the law, the Constitution. None, not even one. What did Rigathi Gachagua say today, the Deputy President? He said that one, his boss is a liar. That's what he said. He said his boss is a conman. He said his boss lied to Kenyans and is the one telling the truth. He said Prime Cabinet Secretary, the Speaker, his boss, and the Speaker of the Senate are all bunch of liars and is the only truthful man. So I want us to imagine that the National Assembly doesn't impeach him, the Senate doesn't impeach him, or the Senate and the National Assembly impeaches him, but the court says no. Should that be the case, then he goes to the cabinet. How will that cabinet look like? I think where we are, we must sober up as Kenyans, because it is evident the deputy cannot work with his boss. His boss cannot work with him anymore. The best thing to do is to save the nation. Let whoever must go, go. If it is the deputy president, if he has to go, not because he's a bad man. No. Let him go because we need a functioning country. We need a country that works. If he's going, we'll save the country, the better. But if we so insist that he has to stay, we are not going to have a country here. We are going to have a bickering government for the next 3 remaining years.
Allow me, this is bad manners, but allow me. You You say if Ruto has to ensure his deputy goes to save the country, so be it. But this deputy has laid out very serious accusation against his boss, directly and indirectly. It is for us to deduce where it was being pointed at, but leaves no room to imagine. He is equally mentioned that some of the people known to him have their children and themselves with offshore accounts in places such as Dubai, but not him. So what saving is this that has to be having a lot of amazing grace that will make sure Kenya survives because DP Gachagua is impeached? And I'm not trying to hold a brief for him, just trying to understand where you're coming from.
Good. Remember,
Mizani, can I add something?
Just a moment.
Let him answer one question and then you can ask the other, please. Thank you.
Remember, there's a provision through which either the deputy or the president can leave office. They are provided for in the constitution. The president is not facing either of those provisions within the constitution as it is now. There's no impeachment motion against him. He's not mentally incapacitated. He's not health-wise. He's not challenged in terms of health that can make him that can incapacitate him. So the person who has the challenge that has been brought forward is DP Gachagua. So unless such a motion is brought against the president, then the president will have to go. But if that is not brought before the parliament, then whoever has been accused now, who seemingly can now not work with the other, let them just do the most honorable thing. And if you ask me, the best thing Gachagua can do, if I were to be his advisor, I would tell him, save yourself the noise, resign, leave to fight 2017. But if you wait to go through this process, technically you will be locked out from holding any public office. Thank you.
All right, let's get a quick question from Diamonds and then we can proceed with the next speakers.
Yes. I have a question to Ambassador. And I zoomed in on his photo and I saw Raila behind. So I just hope it was not, his line of thought is not affected by anything else external. But be it as it may, I have a question for him. He's saying that the process is a political process. And because it is a political process, it doesn't matter if there are grounds or no grounds for accusation. So my question to you is, you think that the drafters of the Constitution, when they said you can leave office for gross misconduct or abuse of office, you really think it wasn't important? Are you saying that it's not important for anyone to prove that? Because it's a political process, it can be abused by Parliament. But I'll give you a number of examples when Parliament has abused its power. Let me just finish it. I'll give you examples when Parliament has abused its power and it's actually been, and its decisions have been struck. The reason I'm saying this is because there are always checks and balances in the Constitution, which is even if they have that power, it has to be checked by someone else. I can give you an example. The BBI, for example, Parliament passed it within seconds. County assemblies passed it within seconds. Why? But it was crap and nonsense. So the thing is, there is the provision for impeachment, but also there must be sufficient grounds. If you think that is not true, we will walk the journey. But I'm telling you, I hope the photo behind you does not affect your decision making.
Thank you. The photo behind me, I fully support Raila's bid for AU for very many reasons, and I hope and pray that he gets it, not just because of him, but for the purpose of the country and Africa at large on what I believe in. That aside, we know there could be a saving grace for Gachagua because he is prepared to go the long way. He will go up to, this thing may end up in the Supreme Court, because after we know, we can bet that the Senate and the National Assembly will impeach Gachagua. He will go to the High Court. Whatever decision that will be there, someone will appeal. Whatever decision will be there, someone will still appeal. Either the government or whoever, or an individual, or Gachagua will still appeal. This, we can bet today, it will end up in the Supreme Court that will make the final judgment. Just like maybe Sonko and Waititu, or just like maybe Martin Nyagawambora. The courts will either save or nail the last, will serve him with the last nail on the coffin. Thank you. But the National Assembly and the Senate, we know, we cannot pretend. They sing the tune of the party leader. You know what ODM is today. ODM, I can bet with everything I have that they have been told this is the direction. They will toe that line. Nobody will not toe. UDA, the same. These other parties, they have been told, toe the line, they will toe. And they pride themselves in calling themselves Nombe. So it doesn't matter what we say, what Gachagua say, whether it's right, whether it's wrong. Those guys will just do their thing. Gachagua may have hopes in the courts.
Thank you very much for that. Let's move to the next speaker. We have on the line with us is the real Joe. Should we bring this Kowino man before we have the Western boy?
Yeah. Let's bring in Kowino so that he can give us his sentiments. We know Western is going to.
He will give us the DP version of his short version of the speech, right?
Exactly. So let's give Kowino, then we can go to Western.
Thank you, Mizani. That was an interesting. Was it an interview? He called it an interview at the beginning. Was it an interview or a speech? I don't know. But what next for Geoffrey Rigathi Gachagua? I think he's going to be impeached because at the end of his speech, when he was being asked if the motion has a nod of the president, he said yes. So he knows his fate. He knows he's going to be impeached. But maybe he's looking for sympathy. I don't know. But again, he revealed some very important things. Like we've been here calling him tribal every single time. Mara amesema Murima, but government ni shareholders and all that. And I think he just clarified that. Even read, ameambia ma DVD bana walipewa hadi speaker na wakapewa na prime CS na hawakuleta kura. That was funny though. Yeah, but it tells you Gachagua alikuwa, he feels disappointed kwanza because maybe what they agreed on apewi maybe share yake of the cake. He's not getting his own share of the cake. He's just telling us publicly that he's not a yes man. Yeah, atafanyiwa tu kila kitu pale na aseme yes. If it's 10 shillings, we have to get 5. Let us get 5 shillings each. See, tunanipatia 4 shillings and you get 6 shillings. And yet we agreed it's 5. So what next for him? Kufika Senate, I know tomorrow he'll be impeached. When the voting happens, the National Assembly will impeach him. And the Senate will follow the suit. Yes, amesema hawezi resign, but you just never know. You know, his advisors are also working on clock. Wanajaribu pia kujaribu counter what those other people are doing. But if the president can marshal troops, Gachagua kuwe impeached kwa Senate, based on what we've seen on the courts matters, how political, the light class and all that, do you think president anaweza shindwa kumimpeach in the courts? I don't know. I know the judiciary wanasema it's independent, but is it really independent? I doubt if the judiciary is that independent. So maybe, just maybe, he could resign he could as well try to gamble his way through the courts and all that. Aone kama maybe atashinda up to the Supreme Court. But the moment ameanza ku lose the appeals, just know even the Supreme Court won't haitasimama naye. So the battle is just something else. Iko 50-50, and you just had Kimani Ichung'wah already replied to him on call with Nation TV. Akisema he's not truthful and all that. He's lying on live television. That alone tells you that these people have sealed Gachagua's fate. Now it's up to Gachagua to unseal his fate or to find other means. To either he resigns so that the constitution allows him to hold any other public office someday, or he just stays there and it could end his political career. And it's crazy. Kwa hii vita yao yote, we are really learning a lot of things, how maybe regions were shared and all that. Yeah, and I was asked some questions kama ile issues na KRA venye ilikuwa appoint people from some regions, though he never answered to that. But hizo ni swali zenye wanafaa kuwa najibu, because if power walikuwa nagawana kwa wenyewe, wananchi wa kawaida nao wanafaa kupata development shared equally, like resources inafaa kuwa distributed equally. Kama ni employment, people are not supposed to be discriminated and all that. But again, is Gachagua the only corrupt person in to ever hold that office, ama any other public office, or any other impeachable public office? I don't think so, because under the president himself is not that clean. So this is a political, this is just political. The exercise is political. It's not based, iso corruption zote. These people didn't just wake up yesterday and realize that Gachagua is corrupt jana. Do you think someone who has the capacity to hold office of the president ama the deputy president, ingekuwa watu wanajua ako like, do you want to say Gachagua amekuwa corrupt after being elected the deputy president because sasa wanatoa cases so amekuwa land? His brother passed on in 2017. Hizi land zote hawakuwa amejua hizo vitu, amealiachiwa nini Kilifi and all that. I doubt. So as much as maybe some of the allegations labeled against him in the parliament could be true, this is just political. It is purely political. I know maybe one way or the other it's also distracting our movement, because CCP also tutakuwa like, we want to see what next. Yes, I don't care whether he's impeached or not, but I just don't believe it's in the interest of the people. I want to impeach because he's maybe tribal or anything like that, or corrupt. No, it's just because he's not dancing to
have to land at that.
I've actually landed.
Thank you. That was well executed. The real Joy, your hand is up.
Yes, we keep saying, and I've heard this from even previous speakers, we keep saying political. And I want to throw this question to you, Kowino, just maybe a minute. We keep saying political. What is really political? Because, I mean, does it mean that the deputy president should not be impeached? It is a constitutional process to impeach a deputy president. Provisions are there in the constitution. Does it mean that if he is not the only thief, we should just allow him to continue? Should we not be able to just deal with this thief that we can deal with right now as we wait to deal with the others later? What do you think?
Actually, I'll take 59 seconds. You can take the 1 second back. I think he should be impeached. I don't care whether he's impeached or not. That's why I said he should be impeached. If he's corrupt, he's corrupt. But the only reason I'm saying this is political, the timing of these events. Do you want to say when William Ruto nominated Gachagua to be his running mate, he didn't know any of these things that they are now accusing Gachagua of? Of course he knew. What has changed? Gachagua is probably not dancing to his tune anymore. Gachagua maybe is not listening. So yes, he should be impeached. But it is not in the interest of, they are not doing this for the people, they are doing this for themselves. Thank you.
Good. I think we could invite, I then invite Western to give us his submissions. Western, Mike Niako.
Hi, the real Joe. Hi, Mizani, and everyone on the platform. One, I fully wish to associate myself with the views of Ambassador. And the question that the real Joe is just asked, Kowino. One, I nail my colors on the mast, and I've done it before. It is in the best interest of Kenya that the deputy president be impeached. It's in the best interest of the country. We can't have an individual of that caliber being so close to the presidency. We cannot afford that. It's too risky for the country. So it has to be moved as far away from the presidency as possible. Does that mean that parliamentarians are saintly? Of course they are not. Does that mean that William Ruto is saintly? Of course he is not. So this notion that if you hold this position that the deputy president must be impeached, you somehow are oblivious of William Ruto's excesses is fallacious. It's fallacious. There is no logic in it. Why? Because we know how difficult it is to hold these people to account through the judiciary and all sorts of those independent bodies cannot hold these guys to account. Why do we have a problem when they want to hold one another to account? Why do we have a problem with that? Do you ever think that Gachagua can never appear before a court of law and be asked to account for his wealth? That's why he can come publicly and state those things, because he's not going to account for those things in any court of law in Kenya. That's why you can take the liberties. But in another jurisdiction, he would not have held this press conference because you could easily go to jail. They will interrogate those things and will have to provide evidence of the things you're talking about. But because you're appealing to the masses, you're playing to the gallery, you can say anything and everything. You're taking your case to the court of public opinion. That is it. So it's not if, it is just a matter of time. He will be impeached. He will be impeached by the bicameral parliament, both houses. That's a foregone conclusion. Unless somebody didn't follow closely his pronouncements. And he used very unflattering words to describe Ruto, to describe all those people. Budavadi, Kingi, Watangula, even Raila was the very unflattering words. What does that tell you? The inference unambiguously is that the relationship between Gachagua and those people has irretrievably collapsed. It cannot be mended. That's what it means. But he doesn't have the conviction to resign. Probably he may do it. There's still much time between now and when the matter will be prosecuted before Parliament. And as speakers keep saying, this is not a legal process. This is a political process, frankly speaking. It is. Those things about legality and legalese are just about the principles of natural justice, as he was putting it. That this person was given a chance to be heard, to state his side of the story and all sorts of things. That is it. But it's in no way a legal process. It's in no way. In all jurisdictions, if you like, if you have got the numbers, you can impeach someone. You can impeach someone. If Gachagua had the numbers, actually he could have impeached William Ruto. That's what it is. So why do we find this bizarre? It's not bizarre that you must provide proof. Where did he buy this property from? Where to his bank account? No, it's not like those are things in the judicial corridors, but it's not going there. Secondly, even if he was to go to the judiciary, they will not save him, because this is a fight William Ruto is not going to lose. I can put it to you. He's not going to lose this. One, he's cut his losses.
He's cut his losses. Gachagua and whatever political constituency that he represents, that one is lost. So he's cut his losses, it's lost. Going forward, he's going to re-strategize how to go forward, frankly speaking. So it's not going to be of any political capital to him to retain him. It won't be. The relationship is solid, not just between him and Gachagua, but between him and Gachagua's constituency. And we don't want ethnic warlords in Kenya, fellow compatriots. We don't want ethnic warlords. We want visionary people in power. We can't afford people who derive their legitimacy from amongst their core ethnics. We're tired of this politics. Why? Because it's life-negating, it's poverty-inducing, it's retrogressive. We can't. Anybody who comes and wants to appeal to base instincts, my people and stuff like that, and then he's not even honest with himself to reiterate the things he's been saying all along. He wants to engage in sophistry. I mean, the shareholding thing. I mean, what is it? There's no difference between the things he said and the things he's been saying. But he thinks there's a difference. There isn't. When he talks about resources, share of resources, not power. Who told him that power is not a resource? And the principal resource, for that matter, who told him? So you're talking about people sharing power, but you think power is not a resource, eh? And you are at the same time telling us you made money under Mwai Kibaki. Then you want people to believe that power is not a resource, eh? Yeah, because he thinks that the audience is not sophisticated enough. They can just go with whatever he says and go with it. I mean, we are sophisticated. He lampoons. You know, those two politicians, Mudavadi and Wetangula, they didn't bring anything on board. And so they were rewarded disproportionately. Now, what kind of a politician is that, frankly speaking? What kind of a politician is that? Because we have to differ in principle during elections. You know, we differ, we hold robust debates, you know. But after elections, the business of nation building, the business of economic prosperity, the business of advancing the collective good of the Kenyan people should at no circumstances be relegated to some primordial politics who brought what on board. No. The winner should be the Kenyan people, irrespective of who they voted for. But here is a politician who thinks and believes quite bizarrely that your vote should entitle you to a job. Your ethnic affiliation should entitle you to a job. What kind of a politician is that? And we can afford to empathize with him. Really? Are we really normal? Are we really normal? There are people who don't vote, but they deserve to get jobs. If they qualified, they don't wake up to go and vote. They deserve jobs. There are people who voted for some other politician. They deserve jobs. So let's not tolerate politicians who are out to sink us into the abyss, ladies and gentlemen. Let's not do that. We must have the conviction to cut these people and let them fall into the cracks. So it's not an if, it is a matter of time. He's going to be impeached, and I don't think even the judiciary is going to save him, because why would you lay bare your strategy? Why would you lay bare? You're giving the prosecutor, you know, ample time to pour through the things you've said, and they just bring them back to you tomorrow. Why would you do that? It's because you have lost everything and you have nothing to lose. So you pull everybody to go with you down the drain. We can't afford that politics. So I hold this view, and in no way does it mean I'm endorsing William Ruto's presidency or what he does. You can ask me my views about William Ruto if you don't know. That Rigathi Gachagua must be impeached going forward. It's high time we became a decisive society and a demonstrated intolerance against retrogressive and backward politics. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That is Weston, not very kind today with his words and not mincing, because we mean business when we talk about the nation and where we want to head as a country. We are 3 minutes at the top of the hour. We must call it a night. We'll take the final submissions, but before that, you know what is synonymous with Kenyan politicians? There's one thing for sure, they will never do.
In the unfortunate event it proceeds to the Senate, I'll be there again to prove my innocence by way of evidence. When I called this press conference, there was a lot of speculation that Rigathi Gachagua wants to resign.
Rigathi Gachagua is not planning to do that. LOL on your face. Let's have the final submission by Anthony, who we just lost. Ayo, the 6th. The mic is yours.
Can't resign, won't resign. Same script, different people, different times. I want to say this. There's more than meets the eye that we never get to see in the Kenyan political landscape. And, you know, sometimes Kenyans were governed by the politics of tribe. And right now what's happening, let's look away from Gachagua for a moment and look at Ruto. How many years until elections? We're in 2024, that is 2025, 6, 2027, we have elections. Probably 3 years. That's like 36, is it 36 months to elections? I guess. What does that mean if or not Gachagua is tomorrow? Whatever we know right now is that the relationship between Gachagua and Ruto is hostile. They cannot see eye to eye as we speak. They don't like each other for that matter. And it has been seen, we know it very well. Okay. Moving on, we know that they don't like each other. What does that mean to the people of central Kenya? If Gachagua is ousted out of his seat tomorrow, what does that mean for his political career? That he is not gonna go for any political office for the next 10 years. So, who is Ruto likely to choose for his DP? Still not yet confirmed. But now, as we speak, it is people. Word on the street has it that Ruto does not need Central to win the next elections. Some people say that Ruto is automatically going to run back for president and is going to win. Word on the street has it so. People are saying so. So what does that mean for Kenya for the next 3 years? So whether he's impeached or not, because whether he's getting impeached or not, right now is nobody knows whether he's going to get impeached or not. Of course, Westerners said he's going to get impeached. Fine. Let's look at the parliament right now. What's the numbers? What are the numbers like? What are the numbers like in parliament? And what are the parliamentarians saying? Are they going to impeach him or not? What is the percentage? And his advisors played so well by telling him, go and address the media today and say A, B, C, and D. Whereby, if you listen to that speech very keenly, that guy talked about a lot of issues. If you're listening to understand and not to kupuuza, he spoke about a lot of important and serious issues that are affecting his political ambitions and also might affect the 2027 elections. If he's impeached, how is that going to affect the next elections? Or rather the political landscape? Let's look at that keenly. So as I land, I just wanted to bring that on board because I had spoken earlier. So, but as I land, I want to say this. Tomorrow, whatever happens. But my question is, what does that mean for our political landscape for the next election that is to be held in the next 3 years? Let's think about that along those lines. And who's even gonna step up to get into his seat? And again, really, what's the work of a DP in Kenya? Do we really see kazi ya DP na kwa tu flower girl? In case the president dies, they take over. Or yeye ni kama they do the clerical work. Yeye ni mtu wa nika office messenger. Enda fanya hii. Right? And do you know why they have a rocky relationship right now? Because of those issues. And Gachagua is more of an administrator. Ruto is more of a runner, like doing A, B, C, and D, compared to Ruto and Uhunye back then. I don't know if whatever I'm saying makes sense and is relevant, but I hope it is. But I hope we get to see, we live to see what's going to happen tomorrow, regardless of the outcome of the impeachment session. Thank you very much. Good night.
Thank you very much, Ayo. You raise a number of questions, including the functions of a DP, which are stipulated in Article 147 of the Constitution. I don't know if it's a flowery language or something that looks interesting to read. However, what I know for sure is one Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, will never enjoy the helms of power like DP Ruto then enjoyed. When his boss, Mr. Uhuru Kenyatta, had to take some leave to go and say hi to the people at Hague. And that thing made Ruto desire to become president. At what cost, we ask? Let's take the final remarks. Mr. Kilimanjaro, the mic is yours.
Thank you so much, Mizani. Mine is more or less to add a layer of butter to what Western said. First of all, I think, and I agree with what he said, that I think it is a matter of when, because he needs to go. And this is, from a national outlook, we need to consider that if we have to consider the precedent that he's going to set moving forward, then also we have to consider the relationship between the head of state and his deputy. It is a very volatile situation right now. And then looking at the relationship, which is more or less now irredeemable, it is in the best interest of, the country when he's impeached and he might go out and start doing politics while he is not in office. The other thing is what he's doing is for his own selfish interest, because he's not considering the national interest while using the opportunity or the office of a DP to try and politic for his own self-redemption, because that is what he's more or less trying to do. Evoke the emotions of a region, trying to sanitize himself to that region, with expectation of trying to, influence the outcome of a political direction of the region. That is very wrong, because he is known, this is a case of a bad politician trying to shape the landscape or the political landscape using, the collective, emotive, feelings of the electorate. This is actually more or less, simply put, manipulation. He's just trying to manipulate the regional electoral base of Mount Kenya, which is wrong. It is, in all honesty, politically, it is politically immoral in what he's trying to do. Moving forward, I think it needs to be an opportunity for Kenya to learn, whereby we need to understand that when a DP, and actually this should actually be an example for the candidates to come, there has to be a symbiotic relationship between these two people when they are running for office, there has to be that, glue that sticks them together, that is going to see them go the whole 9 years or 5 years in their contract. But if we have relationships that are going to happen where we have seen similarly with the governors and their deputy governors, whereby a governor goes in, by the time they are getting their running mate, they pick a running mate based on, the perceived outcome of an election. So they'll pick a wrong person knowingly, with foresight that once they get into office, they are going to remove them because they wanted to. It was more or less a case of the end justifies the means. This should not be the case. Politically, that is wrong for the region, for the country itself, and even for the political landscape of our country. So moving forward, I think it's a matter of when he should be impeached. It should be a lesson for the country, for the aspirants who are actually looking to sit in such positions. There is a conduct, the government conduct, which I think is under what is called mwongozo. He is actually doing totally different from what mwongozo as the guiding framework or guiding principles for the conduct of a public servant. So he's going against that, irregardless, and he doesn't care. That is wrong. That is wrong. So mine is just to add a layer of butter to what I think Wilson has said. It's a matter of when, and I totally agree that he needs to go. I learned. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we are giving our final submissions. I tried to use my powers as your DP, Mizani, to add some speakers, but I was unable to. Maybe I'm also being impeached. I don't know. Anyway, I will ask Albert to also give his final submissions as we go towards closing down the space.
Oh, thanks a lot. It's been a nice evening, definitely a bit, for me, a bit shocking on the submissions that were made by the Deputy President. But of course, the space has been able to actually discuss more about it, and I think we are more prepared for tomorrow. But I think the MPs are actually more prepared with more research to be done overnight. I think their attention has probably been diverted to one or two other things that they need to look at, and probably the DP achieved that by actually having that presser. Maybe he wanted actually to muddy the waters and bring in more defense tactics while in parliament, and let's see what tomorrow brings. But I'm also looking forward to Kenya growing constitutionally and seeing the first deputy president impeached, as that will set precedents, of course, for the later leadership that can also be put to account. And the president, I think, will work knowing that he can also be impeached if anything also goes out of his favor. But as of now, constitutionally, he has the majority in parliament. I think he has the political dominance, but I think he also has some push from the recent revolution by the youthful population. I keep thanking you, Mizani, of course, and also the other speakers and listeners. We will meet again tomorrow. Asante.
Actually, I'm with you, Albert, on that. I mean, I also agree with you that we need to see this process through so that we can have it in our history books. Because I think we've had an annulled presidential elections. It is there in our history. And that has actually brought a very defining moment in our elections. If we do this, it is also a turning point in our presidency. Sorry. So I agree with you on that. I want to go next to Redemptor, then Western, then Escowino, as we all give our final remarks.
Thank you. This has been very, very healthy for our minds. These people are bombarding us with information that does not benefit us. I think that today's topic was, what did he say? And I give it to you, what did he not say? Because when I tell stories, I listen to what someone did not tell me. I think today's presentation, because you've helped me think through this, today's submissions was kufa dereva, kufa makanga, kufa mechanic, kufa anybody who has a name or you has been exposed. From June 2024, Kenya will never be the same again politically. And in as much as we are running helter-skelter trying to make sense of the way forward, think the Deputy President of Kenya has given you Kenyans a gift. Information is power. He has given you information. And I think the most important information that he has given us, because we want justice for all the people who are killed, is that he did not sign up for extrajudicial killing. And inadvertently, he has admitted that there was extrajudicial killing. He has also told you that there are people hiding money. So everybody now is wondering, have I hidden my money very well? So all in all is, there is a wind of change. It's scaring a lot of people. There are people who want to remain status quo. You saw what ODM did. And my last submission is to people in diaspora are putting a lot of pressure on the one person who emerges as a winner. Because you have a financial might to sponsor a revolution, I think we start now going machinani to Nairobi. Nairobi, we've done enough conversations, because the heroes that must emerge to save this country now will come from the regions which are problematic. So I thank the Deputy President for his troubles. Again, the last thing, they could also be playing us. But you're smarter than they are. I wish everyone who wants a better country, I wish you power, because in your own little corners, you can make a difference, even if no one is noticing you. Asanteni, Eli, and Obed for giving me the opportunity really to debrief. And I wish everyone a good evening or good morning, wherever you are.
Thank you, Redemptor. So let's go to Western. I'm seeing also a request, but unfortunately, my powers cannot allow me to give more mics. But I think this conversation is progressive. We'll keep having these conversations in future. So don't really feel left out. You can also drop your comments on the comment section. So Western, take it away.
Thanks, Laurel Joe. One, you don't suddenly become a man of integrity only when you're embattled. You don't. You don't suddenly start revealing things only when you're embattled. You don't do that. Had the DP resigned at the time young people are being mauled on the streets, I would have taken him seriously. But here he's just saving his skin. This is a straw man. Well, in a court of law, he would be a star witness in the sense that he's privy to things because he's part of the syndicate that committed those crimes. So the courts would be interested in such a witness. His evidence would be unimpeachable. But in his case, he can't help us because he wouldn't even testify in a court of law. Some of the things he's proclaiming out there. Why? He's bound by the oath of secrecy. He would not. So why do we think like he's of any help to us? He's not. This is a straw man who is out to save his political skin. And I think we should leave him to hang dry. He's a very divisive figure. It's high time he left the political landscape. So that's my take. Thank you.
Thank you, Weston. I think Escoino, you can go. Then I'm seeing through the back door. You can take it after Kowino.
Thank you, Real Joe. I think 3 days ago I said that we have two powerful enemies and they are fighting amongst themselves. So if they want to take one out for us first, then so be it. We can say impeach both, but no one has tabled an impeachment motion against Ruto in parliament yet. So if they can take Rigiji out for us first, then we deal with Ruto. I'm in for that. So secondly, does it, if it's going to take political processes like this one in this country for us to have sane politics and good leaders in future, then so be it. So they can go ahead, they can impeach him. If we will get another motion maybe in future to impeach another corrupt leader or leader who has been dividing people in any way possible, then so be it. Let them impeach everyone if they want. I'm for the impeachment motion. I have nothing against it. If someone else brings one to impeach Ruto again, even after this one is over, then so be it. lastly, as all this is happening, we should all know that Ruto is working on his 2027 strategy. And whether we like it or not, it's been so hard for us in Kenya since Kibaki took power in 2002 for a serving president to go just for one term. So we can rant all we want to say, oh, we have all the votes, but he's in power. So we should find solutions on how we can make him a one-term president. Is it possible? I don't know. But that is something that we really should not ignore. He is working on his plan already. Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Thank you, Escowino. So, Eli, let me give my final remarks. Then you can come in, then help in closing down the space. So basically, let me borrow from what Weston said earlier, that power is a resource. And it is one of those resources in this country that has never been distributed equally. In fact, it has only been distributed only among two tribes. That is the Kikuyu and the Kalenjin. And we've had to bear with this for years. And this is one of the resources that we as a people need to find a way of equally distributing. One of the reasons why we have seen power not equally distributed in our country is because of greed that we've seen, that has been displayed even today. Because of these deals and these shares that we're seeing people chant in the political arenas. This is the disease that we have in our country. In our space yesterday, we talked about the cracking of the walls of the center. And I said that it is because of structural issues. So we have serious structural issues in our country that we need to resolve, that can be traced way back from our independence to this regime. Therefore, we need to, moving forward, we have to allow ourselves, and we have to allow ourselves to change the status quo. How will you change the status quo? We have a progressive constitution, which is not actually the solution to everything. It is also the mindset of the people. It is a lot of things, but at least we have to start from somewhere. There's a denominator that is underlined, which is the rule of law. Abiding to this rule of law and borrowing from the idea of former Chief Justice that a country that abides to the rule of law actually said the greatness of a nation lies in its fidelity to the Constitution, which has been a very serious problem in our country. All these things that we are seeing the DP being accused of, he's committed them. The people accusing him of committing them have culprits as well. The president pushing for this is a culprit as well. Everybody is a culprit. We have several culprits that we don't know which culprit to fight. But the first culprit who goes down, let him go down. We will support his downfall as we look for strategies to fight other culprits. So that is what I have to say today. Let me invite Eli. Unfortunately, for the several requests that are streaming in, we are closing down the space. My powers as deputy president of the space today don't allow me to add any further speakers, but we'll continue the conversation. So Eli, you can take it away.
Thank you very much. Joe, I should actually welcome you quite often to this place. You make it warm and funny at the same time. But I want us to look at some of the comments that have been shared with the audience this evening. And I must admit that at the same time, I'm impressed that Kenyans are very, very engaged with the issues that are facing this country. So, Joe, with your permission, let's sample a couple of them and then try close down the space. Wakili Omesa tells us we are tired of politics. Our pressing issues like healthcare system, education, agriculture, and collapsing economy are our priorities. The political class in Kenya is a circus. I also have one here by Waruimon, who says, honestly, I think it is all orchestrated and we are part of the cast in this game of power play. We need to stick to the agenda that affects us as a people. Chief, Danny, controversial bills tabled, and all. Let us all not lose focus, according to Mon. King George says, so impeach the pickpocketer and forgive the thief. Are people even serious? I don't know, Joe, what you see on your end. Do you want to sample some of them? Joe?
Yeah, I'm seeing some I'm seeing some very hilarious comments here on the section. I'm seeing Clara. I don't know. That cannot be read. The comment by Clara cannot be read.
We can put it on view once.
We can just put it on view once. But here are some comments. I'm seeing Maria Mugu saying there's nothing naive about Rigathi. I think he was replying to me. He knows whatever he's doing. His political portfolio, old politics, doesn't allow him the luxury of naivety. Plus, we expected him to go down like a noisy debe. And he says, sure bet. I'm seeing a comment from Anthony Muridi saying Mount Kenya MPs won't show up. His case will Mira Wambora. He knows the court will save him. So I think Anthony thinks the courts are going to save Rigiji. I'm seeing King George. You've read the comment from King George, right?
Yes, we did read from Joe, but I think we have something here from Godfreak, who says, I have read an article published 6 years ago about the will his brother wrote. It's all true. I think there's more than meets the eye. The fish rots from the head. And you know, what I love is Kenyans have a way of finding fun in everything. Somebody went ahead and did a nice meme saying, they used to believe Wahenga when Muhenga says, Mtegemea chanduguye hufa maskini. Right now, ask Gachagua about it. You will know it's not true.
I mean, these comments are very hilarious. I wish I could be able to even just post for you guys some of these comments on V1s. I don't know if the spaces can allow us next time to be able to do this. Some of these comments, you guys need to go to the comment section. Hapo ndio kuna bamba basi.
Yeah, and the last one here to pick from your samples, we have Jackson, who says, some of you are just jealous. If you see leaders have ganged up against one, maybe there's something that they are hiding, especially Gachagua, who likes speaking much. We can't go through all of them, but again, we do invite you to our spaces. As Joe correctly said, we had a conversation on when the center breaks or cracks. That was aired yesterday. You can go back to the recording. It's available for replay. And Joe, we're looking forward to having an interesting guest next week. You might have listened to him. You've come across him. You definitely know something about him. But this one reverend has been lashing out at government, telling it, you can't be misbehaving. This is not a God-chosen government. Know about Reverend Tony Kiama? He'll be coming soon right here on Mizani 254. In the meantime, we are setting up a leadership summit, should I call it, conference in 2025 in the month of March. Our dates will be cleared up on the calendar. If you're interested, drop us an email that is info@mizani254.org. Once again, info@mizani254.org. Show us your message of interest to attend the conference and we'll reserve a space for you. I know Redemptor promised to be attending. Joe already has cleared up his calendar for us, among other people who have been part of our online community. So the offline community, you want to meet and have a conversation about purpose-driven leadership, you know what to do. Drop us an email. Once again, that is info@mizani254.org. My name is Likuyani Eli. On behalf of the team, have yourselves a great evening. And if you can't fix this nation, nobody else will. Let's keep the conversation moving. And this is Mizani 254, where the scales of balance are restored and meaningful conversations thrive. Good night, good afternoon, and good morning.